So in today's video, I'm going to answer all the questions, all the important information that is required to learn French for Canadian immigration. I have collected one of the most important and one of the most repetitive questions. And if you stick until the end of this video, I'm pretty sure you will get a lot of information. And let's begin with the first question. So the first question is, with CLB 7, do we need any Canadian work experience for permanent residency after graduation? So the thing is, yeah, post graduation it doesn't depend, but the main criteria if you are applying for permanent residency in Canada is that there are different criterias: education, work experience, and languages. Okay, and obviously more things. If you require work experience, that is a whole different thing. If you require language proficiencies, that's a whole different thing. We cannot be like, oh, if I know French, would it still be fine? Can I just apply without work experience? It's not possible, because work experience is one of the minimum eligibility criteria to be able to create your express entry profile and go in the pool. So that is why even if it's English or it's French, you still need 1 year of work experience in tier 0, 1, 2, 3. So that is one of the most important things to understand, is that please don't think that if you know French, if you get CLB 7 in French, in reading, listening, speaking, writing, you don't need any work experience at all. That's not the case. Work experience is still required because that's a different minimum requirement. The minimum requirement for languages is English and French. English as well, we have particular score which is around 6.5 bands in each, and in French it's CLB 7. We do need work experience. Now the thing is, if you're someone who has work experience back in home country, if you have skilled work experience continuous for 1 year in tier 0, 1, 2, 3, in that case you may not need work experience. Okay, but please take my words as a grain of salt. I'm not an immigration consultant. I'm only someone who have been in Canada for 5.5, 6 years. I have cleared TEF Canada exam, so my expertise is French, not immigration. Okay, but what I know is, yeah, if you have work experience back from your home country, then you don't need to have work experience in Canada. But if you do not have your skilled work experience, then you do need 1 year of work experience at least being in Canada. So next question is, my level is B2 in French, but I'm not able to speak very well. Can you tell me how much time it will take? See, the thing is, if you're not able to speak very well, and if you say if your level is B2, that is not correct, because that means your level is not B2 yet. Only completing the syllabus and only learning the vocabulary and grammar at B2 level does not mean that you are at B2 level. Overall, B2 level in French means that for reading, listening, speaking, and writing, for all four of these aspects, that's where you need to be at B2 level competency. So for sure, you might have taken a French course which is at B2 level, or you might have done, Alliance Francaise B2 level, or you might be like, you have been doing concepts at B2 level, but that does not mean that your overall French, your competency of French is at B2 level. You're speaking, if you're not able to speak clearly or speak properly, that means your speaking is probably at A2 level. Okay, this happens, if you are someone who is taking B1, who's taking B1 classes and stuff. If you're learning grammar and vocabulary at B1, that does not mean that you can read at B1 level, does not mean you can listen and speak and write at B1 level. Okay, for each of these aspects of the language, we have to practice enough to be able to be considered at B2 level. Okay, so that is very important. Now the question is, how to improve speaking at B2 level. See, honestly, what I used to do to be able to speak at higher level is I used to train a lot more, like while recording video. Just as right now I'm recording video in front of you guys, I used to take a particular topic. I used to create like bullet points on my rough notebook, that I'm going to speak about this, I'm going to speak about that and that, and then I would record myself and speak in front of the camera, and then I would go back and rewatch the recordings on what mistakes I did, and where I was pausing a lot and stuff like that, to be able to rectify mistakes and become more fluent. So that's what I did for a long time. Okay, 7-8 months I did this practice rigorously. So I really recommend you doing this regularly for at least 1 hour, picking a particular topic. For example, how I met my best friend, my future plans, go into past and future, and then pick one topic every 2-3 days, and then keep on working on that particular topic for 2-3 days, and then move on to next one, then move on to next one. You will see huge changes. So if you want to improve your speaking at B2 level, to B2 level, from A2, B1 to B2 level, do this more. It really works. It really helped me. So I would recommend you this as well. If you want to learn French specifically for TF Canada, you can send me an email over here, or you can go onto my website to check more details and connect with me to learn French as quickly as possible using my learning plan on how I did it as well. Next question is, how to start with grammar, being a beginner from Complete French Grammar book. So now if you're someone who's using Complete French Grammar book, that's great. I recommend that book. Specifically, if you have a question on, what order to follow when we are learning the topics from it, you don't need to do anything. Okay, all you need to do is go to my playlist tab. On my playlist, I have created a full step-by-step playlist on what topics to start for TEF Canada. Okay, so you start with that, start watching that playlist from 0, 1, 2, 3, all the videos. Whatever the topics are there, you go and open the same topics in complete French grammar book, and then practice the back exercise and read the chapters from there as well. So it's kind of like double practice. So do it this way. So this will help you a lot. Next question is really struggling in listening, even though I'm at B1 level. How can we improve to get good TEF score? Yes, I really understand your question. If you're struggling in listening, that means you're in the right boat, honestly, because I used to struggle a lot in listening. When I was listening, I always got demotivated, and I was like, it's not possible. Like reaching B2 level is not possible if I'm not even able to understand A1 to A2 level listening. And I'll be very honest with you, it's more about trusting the process rather than how much you are actually able to comprehend or not. Because what I realized is after 3-4 months of pushing myself to be able to continuously listen, even though I was not able to understand anything, I was using transcripts, and that's fine. Don't worry about using transcripts. If you're using transcript, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So keep on using transcript and persist yourself to be able to keep on doing listening for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Eventually you are surely going to see progress. When we try to analyze ourselves on the shorter time frame, for example a week or 2 weeks or even a month, you will not see a lot of difference, a lot of concrete evidence that your listening has improved. But in your brain, the listening has actually improved. Okay, so stick to the process. Do not worry too much that oh, it's been like a month, my listening is not improved. As long as you are putting enough effort, as long as you are listening, for sure it's going to get improved. Use transcripts if necessary, and then once the transcript is done, then watch the video again or listen again without the use of transcript to challenge yourself. So do that. Talking about specific resources to use to improve your listening at B1 B2 level, use RFI. Okay, RFI Francais Facile. You can use the TV Sank Monde as well. These two will be good enough, and you can use some YouTube channels. Really good YouTube channels I recommend are Inner French. When you are around B1 level, A2 B1 level, stick to Inner French. Then once you go a little bit higher, then you can start using Le Monde for higher level listening, and RFI as well for higher level listening on YouTube. So this is how to improve our listening. So next question is, does TCF work for PR or only TEF works? So basically the question is TCF or TEF. Like, is it the only TEF exam that we are supposed to give for Canadian immigration, or TCF is also fine? Yes, TCF is also fine. However, according to my personal opinion, okay, I'm not talking on anyone else's behalf. My personal opinion, I find TEF to be a little bit better and a little more easier, because in TCF Canada, there are 3 sections of speaking when you are giving the exam, but in TEF Canada, there are only 2 sections of speaking, which makes it overall a bit less overwhelming. Also, in TCF Canada, the listening component, they don't actually show you the options when you are attempting the exam, when you are listening to the audios, but once the audio is completed, then they show you the options. Whereas in TEF Canada, it's a bit more easier. You have the audio playing in front of you as well, but also at the same time you can see the options as well, which is overall, which becomes less overwhelming again. So that's why I personally recommend TEF Canada. And also 80% of people, those who give French exam, they go with TEF Canada. So I'll say stick to it. I am having problems with learning vocabulary. Any tips for that? Yes, it's one of the most important and oh, you know, okay, whatever. It's one of the most important and most common problems that every student faces, including me. When I was learning French, I faced the same problem: how to learn more vocabulary. See, I'll be honest, learning vocabulary lists, it works for a very tiny bit, a bit of a time frame. If you're a complete beginner, okay, if you're a complete beginner at A1 level, for sure, learning vocabulary from vocabulary list will directly help you. But once you are around A1, A2, B1, once you go through all the phase of learning the language, then vocabulary list is not really a good way to be able to get good in vocabulary. Where I have seen a lot of improvement in my vocabulary was through reading more. The more you read, the better you get in vocabulary. That is for sure. So start reading as soon as possible. If you have completed past tenses, if you have completed future tenses, just pick a storybook and start reading. It will really help you. Okay, and moving forward, you can pick up any book that you like. and have its French translation. For example, for me, I wanted to read Atomic Habits, and I got its French translation, and that's how I was able to read the book as well, but also read it in French, which really improved my vocabulary. So you can do that as well. But yeah, read more to be able to improve your vocabulary, and also listen as well, because with listening too, you gain a lot of vocabulary. And whenever you're reading and listening, make sure to note down the new words that you see in your vocabulary list to be able to passively revise them. Okay, we are not using the vocabulary list to actively learn the vocabulary. In future, once you're reading more, once you listen more, all that vocabulary that you heard and that you read will be repeated in your brain. Will, you will be exposed to it multiple number of times. So that's how you will slowly gather the vocabulary. Don't memorize it from the vocabulary list. However, vocabulary list is still important to test yourself, on random basis. Like, what I used to do is, after every 3 days, I would just go to the vocabulary list and give it a read for 15 to 20 minutes, just to see all the different and difficult words, so that I can still retain them in the brain. And that used to work for me well. So for you as well, do reading and listening, keep the track of vocabulary list with it. Next question is, okay, this question is linked, which is very nice. Can you recommend any books for basic level French reading, like storybooks, etc.? Yes, I'll put the screenshots over here, so you'll be able to use this one for the basic level listening, for the basic level reading, if you're around A1 A2 level. And then after that, once, if you want to improve your more reading at higher level vocabulary, use this one. And then after that, for technical, for even higher level, the journalism level vocabulary, use these two websites that I recommend. These websites are specifically for reading news articles, which will really improve your higher level vocabulary. Next question is, how can I maintain consistency? It is hard for me to stay consistent due to busy life. See, you really have to prioritize it. I'll be very honest. If you feel like you're not able to give time to learn French because of busy life, that means that you still haven't made French learning as your main priority. I'll be honest, I was working 60 hours a week. Okay, and I was doing a lot of other activities as well. I was going to gym regularly, and I was doing other things as well, which is not a bad thing. But what I did when I started learning French, I said no to all the other things apart from work. I cut down my working hours from 60 to just 35 to 37 and a half. I was willing to make that trade to be able to earn less money, to be able to invest that time into learning French instead. And not going to gym for a whole year. I didn't go to gym. I only used to work out during my breaks. Okay, because I used to work in the gym, I would get a break and I would just go and work out for half an hour. That's all I used to do. Apart from it, I gave most of my time into learning French apart from work. Okay, so that is a sacrifice that you have to make. If you're not consistent, I'm talking from my experience, first month, second month, third month, these three are one of the most difficult months to stick to. But once you build your consistency in first 2 to 3 months, then it becomes a passive habit. Then you don't have to have a willpower to be able to sit and study French. It automatically becomes a habit. Then you keep doing it. I still remember when I started learning French, first couple of months were the most difficult months, because that's when you're supposed to push yourself to be able to sit and study. And that pushing yourself phase only happens for first few months. Once that is done, then your brain starts to see French as a regular habit, studying French as a regular habit, which yeah, by which you are automatically able to wake up at that particular time when you sit French. And it all becomes on autopilot. So that's the thing. You only have to be consistent for first few months, and then after that the routine builds up, and then you are able to continue. So that is my recommendation. But yes, work less to be able to study French more. That's the only way around it. If you have any other questions regarding French for TEF Canada, you can put them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. If you want to learn French specifically for TEF Canada, you can send me an email over here, or you can go onto my website to check more details and connect with me to learn French as quickly as possible using my learning plan on how I did it as well. I'll see you in the next one.